Hey guys, welcome back to my channel yet again. I'm not sure if I'm posting this video the same day as my previous video with my showing my digital denture try-in. And in the prior video, I was trying to figure out a word for impression, and I kept saying mold, but it's impression. Dr. Frank took impressions of my existing dentures to combine them with my impressions he took without my dentures to create, through the computer system, a perfect denture for me, which I saw yesterday with my other try-in. But in this video, we are going to be speaking with John from Ivoclar Vivident, who is an awesome individual that took the time to show me the process of creating an individual's wax try-in, how the mold, how it is created, how the teeth are placed, and then he goes into detail as to what the next steps are after the patient has accepted the wax try-in and gives it the okay to make it into their final denture. So with this video, that is what you're going to be seeing, and I hope you enjoy. I hope it is informative, and I hope it gives you a look into what goes on. I did change my shirt. This is the same day, I'm making the same video, except I'm wearing a hoodie because it is kind of chilly. So not that anybody cares. But with that being said, remember to show kindness, not hate. Show love to one another. Smile no matter what. And as always, peace. So John, this is essentially the setup for a wax try-in, I assume. So would you like to tell me more about what I'm looking at here?
What you're looking at is, this is an articulator which represents the upper and lower jaw and the relationship of the upper and lower jaw. So what we're going to do is set some teeth so that we can try in the denture, and we can make changes because everything's still in wax, and afterwards if everything is fine, then we would process the denture into the acrylic, and we would have our finished denture.
All right.
I'm going to start. I have two teeth set right now, and we have a setup table that helps guide us setting the teeth. This is our midline, the center of the face, and where the centrals will be. And as you see, they touch, and we're going to just start to set more teeth now. I'm going to take some molten wax and just create a little bit of an area to set my next tooth. I'm going to place it on the model. Now we can characterize the setup. The teeth naturally will have a little bit of a natural curve to them, so they're not going to be straight across all the time. We can do that if the patient requests that.
Now, if they request that and see that they don't like the outcome since it's in wax, is that something easily changed?
We can easily change it once it's in wax.
Okay.
Once we get it into the acrylic form, it can be changed, but you're really starting from scratch again.
So basically, when patients are doing their wax try-ins, they should really pay close attention to the details and
to the little details, and to see if they like the teeth, the color of the teeth, the shape of the teeth, and the arrangement of the teeth.
Those are all very important things, as I know. So how long does it generally take to create a wax tri-indenture, a denture out of wax?
On the average, about 45 minutes to an hour.
So that's a lot of manpower being put into there, a lot of man hours.
A lot of man hours. It depends on how creative you want to be,
Right.
or if we're just lining them straight up across, the time is cut down. But usually patients don't want to see that. They want to see a little bit more of a nuance, but they are available. What I'm doing now is just heating up a strip of wax because I'm going to set just one side of teeth altogether.
Okay.
And if the wax is soft, I can easily set all the whole teeth on all this side of the arch. And it goes relatively very fast. We usually spend a little bit longer on the front, the anterior teeth, because that's the teeth that the people see the most. And we want those to look
That's
just the
perfect.
way they want them.
Are the anterior teeth a little bit trickier, would you say, to place?
No, not really. As long as with this guide we can keep everything all in line. And as you can see, it hasn't taken too long and we have almost the entire denture set at this point.
That's incredible. My phone had actually stopped recording, so I missed the part where you said that you have all sorts of teeth that you can place in.
Oh,
So John had said they can place many different types of teeth, many shades, but they don't technically do rainbow, I asked. But they can put little rubies in there, diamonds, gold teeth. They have had that requested, so if you're watching this and are interested in that, then it's definitely possible.
it's something to ask for.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm doing the left side.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I could ever do something like this. It takes it must take a steady hand.
It takes a little bit of practice.
But now it's just like second nature to you, I assume.
Well, every denture is a little bit different. You know, I don't try to duplicate the same setup every time.
Right.
I try to characterize it for that individual person. And usually the patient and the doctor will help us out as far as what they're actually looking for and what type of an arrangement they want, what color teeth, the shape of the teeth. And now that I have all the teeth set, what I will do is add a little bit of wax to make it look more like a natural denture. And then this, once this is done, it will go for a try-in, and the patient can approve or disapprove or make any changes that they need.
Like you said before, it's very important to pay attention to the little details.
The little details.
Because once they're in the acrylic, it's hard to, you
Right.
can't just change them around.
At this point, it's in soft wax, so we can easily just pull out one tooth and
Right.
make a change, rotate it a little bit, turn it, put it back in, and make whatever changes need. Once we get into the processing point where we turn everything, we remove all the wax and replace it with acrylic, hard acrylic, it's a different story. This is the process that takes a little bit longer because we need to add a lot of wax to make it look good.
So both tops and bottoms separately take about 45 minutes apiece each.
No, we can do an upper and a lower in just under an hour. I would
In
say.
just under an hour. Okay. Still a lot of time.
Okay, our denture has come back. The patient has accepted it. Everything is fine. We are now going to go to the next step where we will turn all of the wax into denture acrylic. So I'm going to use one of our denture flasks, which is made out of brass, and I'm going to mix some stone, some gypsum,
Now, why do you use gypsum?
it's a form of plaster, but it's a little bit stronger.
Okay.
So when we're pressing the acrylic, we want something firm that the acrylic can be pressed up against. And I'm just pushing the gypsum around the stone model to hold it in place. And we're going to let this set up, which should take about 10-15 minutes. and we'll come back and do the second half. The first half is we are setting the model, the wax up in the teeth, all in the bottom half of the flask. We will do a second pour, which will end up holding the teeth in place, and we're going to remove all the wax.
All right.
Denture is now set up, and we need to paint some separator on here because we're going to pour another layer of gypsum on top of it. So we want the two layers not to stick together. So I'm going to take a little bit of our separating fluid and just paint it on. Wherever I paint this on, the second pour of gypsum will not stick to it. I'm going to put our top half of our flask on. And I'm going to make a second pour of gypsum to go over the top. All right, now we're doing and we've just done the boil out. It's come out of boiling water where all the wax has been melted away, and we are going to be left with our teeth and our model of the upper ridge.
That's interesting. So all they just separated. Is that why?
It is separated all the wax. This is called the lost wax technique.
Okay.
All the wax is removed and is now going to be replaced with denture acrylic. Again, we're going to place our separator on the gypsum. And we're going to let this dry. And the next step will be to pack denture acrylic into it.
All right.
Now we're ready for our next step. We are going to mix our ProBase Hot, which is a hot cured acrylic. And I already have it mixed out. It's a two-part system. The powder is called the polymer. The liquid is called the monomer. So I'm going to just measure out the proper amount. And we'll add our powder into the liquid. And we'll mix. It's a soupy mix at this point.
It's like a smoothie.
And in a few minutes, this will begin to harden. And we need it to get into a doughy state. So what we're going to do is cover this up and let that sit for a few minutes. We'll come back to it and we'll be able to pack our denture. In the meantime, we're going to do another denture. Another way of doing dentures is with what's called a cold cure. This doesn't require a lot of heat to set up. So it isn't as dimensionally stable over time as the heat cured. So it's going to tend to warp and break down over a shorter period of time. I'm going to take our mix. Add our monomer. And this is usually done in a soft silicone mold where we have our teeth already in place. and our model. We're going to put this in place, and I have two holes here. One where is our pour, and one is our vent. So I'm going to add this to the monomer. I'm going to mix this up. As you can see, this is very liquidy. It's almost like a water consistency.
Oh yeah, it's a big difference.
I'm going to mix this up, and I will slowly pour this into the mold. And this will go into a pressure pot. Which just has warm water.
Okay.
And we'll add some air pressure to it. And this will sit for 15 minutes. We'll have a cured denture in 15 minutes.
All right.
The acrylic is set up now into what we call a doughy state. And I'm going to just grab as much as I can out in one shot. And I'm going to roll it into a couple rolls that I can pack the denture with. Now we use just a clear sheet to do the first pack. This is what's called trial packing. We want to get a nice dense mix of the acrylic. We want to get all the air out of the system, out of the denture base. And I'm going to take this over to our hydraulic press. And I pump this up to 1,000 pounds of pressure. As you can see, all the excess acrylic is coming out. I will do this trial pack 2 or 3 times, depending on how it looks after the second or third trial pack. And then we will place this into another holding flask, and then that will go into a water bath for a 2-hour time period.
Oh wow.
Right, so it's pretty stable now at 1,000 pounds of pressure. I'm going to release the press. And this is the start of our denture.
That's neat. So the teeth just stick right to it when it dries.
This will bond around the teeth and will become one.
That's amazing. Well, thank you, John.
You're welcome.